Just wanted to show you guys this. Basically, when you go up in quality of plunger, often you start getting airsoft bits or more teeth. In this one we've got 14 and we really only need 12. I'll see if I can get in here and get a good shot of it. But you see, the plunger is basically as far back as it can go. Go a little bit further, but basically as far back as it can go. And we've still got teeth, basically. So what we have here, wait for it to focus, is it's not able to let go of the plunger to have it obviously go forward at all. So the options when you have this many teeth is to take some teeth off the gear or take some teeth off the plunger. Now most videos will say take some teeth off the plunger. You don't really want to screw with your gears. In one build I took a couple of teeth off of a gear set because it was a cheap gear set that wasn't meant for a Gen 8, and it worked really well. I got really quite good speeds, but at the same time I possibly should have done both. I should have taken a gear, a tooth, maybe 2 teeth off of the plunger, and a tooth, maybe 2 off of the gear set, and shorten the throw up quite a lot, and it would have increased my speed. And I found that it was drawing it back so far that even with a shorter spring on that particular blaster I made, I was still having it throw and hit very hard into the front. And people that heard it firing were stating that it's gonna break, and it did. So in the end the stress was too much for the cheaper gears, and I haven't pulled it down yet, but it sounds like I've killed some gears. So basically in this one I know I'm going to have to remove at least 2 off the plunger and maybe 1 off of the gear set, but I will more than likely just take them off the plunger because I really don't want to replace another gear set, even though these are relatively cheap ones in these upgrade kits, these Worlds upgrade kits. I really don't want to have to rebuild this after I've got it back together again. So just wanted to show you guys that, and it's really quite nice and tight in there with the purple O-rings, so I'm happy with that. So I really don't want it having to throw so far back at all. Like, even if you look at that, it's already got to its opening, to its vent, port, whatever you want to call it, and basically I've got heaps more teeth to go and heaps of teeth on the gear set. So there's not much room back here when you start talking about compressed springs, considering they're compressing all the way through the thing, but it's still it's not a huge amount, and you'll start getting it hitting very hard. Now that does equal more feet per second as long as the tip's sealed and a good quality one, but it also does put a lot of stress on these little plastic lugs that come through and fit into the cylinder head. So basically on this clear plastic that isn't the strongest in the world, it's certainly not up to the quality of the nylon, and obviously nowhere near the quality of the metal housings. It can't handle it, and especially if you want to upspring and things like that, you start running into trouble. So basically we've got to shorten the throw up a little bit and make it not hit as hard and get a little bit more speed out of it. It probably won't fire as hard as the stock G36 with the nice, just replacing this and the O-ring in itself. You have to buy these separately, they don't come in any kits for the G36. They're a different size, ever so slightly. Yeah, if you just replace those bits on the standard blaster, you will get a noticeable feet per second increase. So there's not really much more reason to go any bigger than that unless you want to do heavier springs, etc., or a faster fire rate, which, like I said before, the mechanical feed that's on the mags doesn't really allow you to go stupidly fast, but it will take quite a bit of speed, as you know, as long as this is coming back far enough to engage the top of the clip. I'll just grab one of them somewhere. Got a few of them around the place. Here it is here. As long as that's coming back far enough to, forward far enough on one or the other to engage that, you will, and it has to engage it right to the bottom. You notice that sometimes if you don't have the mag in all the way and you turn it on, you get nothing. You get nothing coming up. So it really does have to engage right to the bottom to get that to click. Now I've considered shortening that up down there to see if I can get them to run faster, but I'm assuming that will come with a host of other problems. So we've left that standard, and I'm trying to keep the fire rate down and increase the punch behind it. I wanted to try to get these up to about 280 and reliable. That's the goal. With the 1.3 spring in standard, they will run about 220 to 240 without changing anything. So as out of the box, that's a pretty good blaster for something that you can mag dump in all day long with a 7-volt battery in it. It's adequate to play games even with guys that have got much better blasters, because basically you can just keep firing, where they're going to run through their mags very quickly, and basically the constant punch from one of these will actually keep them in their little hidey holes and stop them from being able to play efficiently against you and your team usually. So the G36 has got a lot of good qualities to it, but it's also, like we said, we've got a different size bearing than comes with the standard kit. We've got a different size cylinder head that doesn't come with the kit. You always get a solid cylinder with your kit that you don't need. This tip is longer than most of the other ones, so in the feeding process, if you don't have the original one, good that it comes alloy anyway, if you don't have the original one, it won't feed properly. So there's all these little bits and pieces that make these a little bit more of a hassle. If you want to change engine, you have to buy a specific engine housing for it, which is here. It's pretty cool. I'm happy with that. It was only only a few bucks. It wasn't too expensive to then make it that I could put the better engine in, but I can run the 11 volt in. If you do run an 11 volt with these guys, they heat up with the stock engine. They heat up very fast in your hand, and you can basically tell you're going to melt the thing. So never understood why it comes with the metal gear on the engine and the plastic ones in the actual gearbox. I didn't have it shear off on any of them, even though I was running heavier springs. So it's an interesting thing, but yeah. So, and the other thing that I've noticed as well, and this is what killed this one before, was in a lot of kits that come for gel blasters that you notice and go, oh, that's cheap, I'll grab that. The rail is a little bit thinner. There's these clear plastic acrylic. I'll see if I can find it. Here it is. This bad boy here. They're thinner. And with the G36, I don't know if it's the same on the Wells. Is it M4? I'll see if I get a better shot of that. You see how it's thinner? Yeah. If you look at the Wells M4, where the gear sits, I don't know. Sorry, on the G36, where the gear sits in comparison. I wonder if I can get it up without it falling. It sits to one side just, instead of directly in the center of the tube. So basically, it will sit on this edge of the gear set. And with the slightly thinner one, you will get. You notice how I've got the wearing on the one side there. That can be an issue if you don't have things perfectly shimmed, or the gear set is like from a Generation 8. They sit slightly out of line differently, and you'll notice that it won't run properly. So that's been an issue in the past. So the Wells gear set looks like it fits much closer to the center, but it's not the center still. Again, it's off to one side of it. So yeah, so you have to keep that in mind when you buy your plunger or piston, regardless of what you want to call it. So yeah, we've run into a couple little snags of things fitting, so I'm gonna give this one a break today and wait for some bits and pieces to come, but it's good to see that we're gonna have to do a little bit of work, but we'll get it together.